Tony D and Little Joan in the background, and this is your Screenwriter's Rant on 3 comedies. Oh my God, we have comedies again. First up is Snatchers, about some guys who steal bodies, I think. Second up is Bull Run, a Tim Blythe comedy movie about, I think, the stock market. And then there's a political satire, or military satire called Atropia. Atropia. Yeah, smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my book, speaking of comedy, Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 18, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. Fingers crossed the government shutdown ends so I can get a copyright and put out book 19. Also, I had an event. It's postponed until the government shutdown ends. So I'm really getting jammed up on that. All right, let's get into it. Snatchers. This is a weird trailer. Kind of doesn't make much sense. But it's about 2 guys who work in a morgue. And I'm not sure what they do, but they either made this girl come back to life or she wasn't dead. I'm not sure. But she seems to be kind of psychotic. I don't know. I don't know. This may take place during a certain medical emergency. Not sure. And I think it takes place in Scotland, or at least one of the guys sounds kind of Scottish. And I think they steal the bodies. That girl looks like Brett Cooper a little bit, doesn't it? So I'm not sure what's going on. It may have been that they were going to steal her organs or something, and then she turns the tables on them. I don't know. This is a very incoherent trailer. It's got some funny bits. So the 2 dudes are stealing a body, and then they keep dropping it, tripping over themselves. So it's a little tough to figure out what the heck it's about. Here they're talking to some dude and maybe sort of spilling the beans kind of accidentally. I'm not sure. Well, I'll take a stab at it. First act, one or both of them needs money, and they get offered extra money to steal organs or steal bodies for some group. Maybe it's doctors, maybe it's some weirdo. But they have to take it, or maybe they've been taking it for a while. Second act, one of the bodies they're meant to deliver isn't dead, comes back to life, or maybe it's a miracle, or maybe they do it. But the girl comes back to life and then goes after them, I guess. And that's a problem. But they still need to deliver bodies, so they continue to do that while she goes after them and eventually confronts one of them and ties them up and possibly kills them. I don't know. It's really tough to figure it out. But let's read the write-up. Lifelong friends Mac and Fettis work as underpaid, underappreciated orderlies when one of them has a brain explosion and decides they should sell the organs of a fresh corpse to make a quick buck. However, things quickly take a dark comedic turn when the corpse wakes up on the operating table, asking all sorts of questions and creating all sorts of problems. All right, so kind of close. Would I see it? Maybe. I mean, it looks like a bit of a satire on the medical profession, so I'm kind of down with that. Not sure what's going on there. Not sure if these guys are comedians or what. Maybe. I give you a definite maybe on that one. All right, number 2 is Bull Run. Now, this looks like a comedy. It's structured in such a way that it starts with the death of this dude's boss. He blames himself for it and that he caused it, I think, indirectly. And then it flashes back to him working for a terrible boss. And he eventually meets a girl, but then meets another girl who's going to be his boss, who may want to have sex with him. I'm not sure. So it's about the wacky world of stocks and crazy stuff that goes on. And he's pulling some sort of scam. It's not very clear what the scam is. He may be betraying his boss and betraying both his boss, turning one against the other, and somehow leaving with the money. I don't know. But it looks fine. Yeah, this is a comedy, I would say. So first act, he's working for the boss from hell. Second act, he's meets a girl. He gets another offer to to work for somebody else. Jay Moore's in it. He can be funny. He's getting up there. He looks like he put on a few pounds, but yeah, maybe I'd see Jay Moore in a movie. He also works for him at some point. But eventually he switches over to the blonde. They're pulling some sort of big scam. There's a chance it'll blow up in his face. Does he pull it off, and does he win the girl? I would say yes. Let's do the write-up. Bobby Sanders, a hustling, fast-talking ex-pro hockey player turned junior banker, navigates the quirky and somewhat surreal world of high finance as he confronts life's meaning with his gilded cage. Yeah, okay. That sounds pretty solid, actually. Yeah, got a little bit of the Wolf of Wall Street in the mix. Finally, there's Atropia. Now, Atropia is a fictional country, and the idea is Atropia is a fake country they set up to train soldiers. So they train soldiers for Iraq. So it's meant to be some sort of political satire. This is the girl from, she played Maybe on Arrested Development. Now, she's pretty funny sometimes. But as I was watching the trailer, I'm not sure what exactly was supposed to be happening in the movie. Are they making a satire about the Iraq War? It's a little late for that. It's a little late and a little safe. It says ripe with social commentary that's more than relevant than ever, says Deadline. If you're in Iraq, I don't know. Here's the fly in the ointment, though. Yeah, okay, so you got Bush in the background here. You got Tim Heidecker in this. Now, Tim Heidecker, and this is just my personal bias, I've never liked him, the Tim and Eric Show, the meta comedy, and he is like hardcore TDS. I mean, like way beyond. Like if I had to pick a celebrity or a comedian to strap something to himself and kablamo, it would be Tim Heidecker. That's how TDS he is, I think. That's just my opinion. Written and directed by Haley Benton Gates. So, as much as I'd love to see a great comedy and a great political satire on war, I've got some serious doubts about this. I don't quite get the premise either. Take a stab at it. First act, the main character maybe is she's an actress in this show or training thing for the U.S. government, and she's been doing it a while, and now she's trying to get out. She's made some good money, but she's trying to get out. In the meantime, she feels like they're lying to people who are being sent to war, and there's a lot of I assume bashing of the Republicans during the Iraq War. You know, like they're the only ones who pushed for this. And they take a lot of blame, don't get me wrong. I really don't like the Bushies, but I watch the Democrats lie down and let them do whatever the hell they want. So, yeah, I don't expect this to be... Man, when you do satire, you got to be on point, man. You got to be 100% on point. And if you're not, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. So I don't have a lot of hope that this is going to work. My take is it's probably going to just lean heavily into TDS somehow, even though it takes place decades before Trump. Yeah, somehow it's going to be about TDS. So the second act, they're training guys, and I don't know, she gets the idea she could do something to get out, and then she tries to, but she can't because it's Atropia and she's kind of stuck. Something like that. I don't know. Let's see if I can find a write-up on the IMDb. Normally I would be all about this, but Tim Heidecker, yeah, I really have to. Haley Gates writes and directs. Follows an aspiring actress working for the U.S. military base that simulates the Iraq war zone. Let's see what Haley's credits are. Haley Gates. Okay. Known for Atropia, Ricky and the Flash, and Uncut Gems. Okay. Got a 6.1 for Atropia. Yeah, it looks 6 or 7 is about where her movies land. There's a lot of acting credits. Writing credits. Elle Fanning's Fan Fantasy. A Space Program. Your Highness Grandmother Pageant. And Shako Mako. So I don't get any of these, so this is a new kind of a new venture for her. I mean, I want to like it, but man, Heidecker, man, I don't know. I can't imagine him doing this if this was, a satire that had real teeth to it for the entire military-industrial complex, and not just the side he didn't like. But you never know. Maybe is pretty good. I get a real week possible. Only on streaming. No way I'd pay money for this. But if it dropped on streaming somewhere and I heard it was decent, maybe. All right, let's rank these. So you got Atropia, Bull Run, and Snatchers. Well, Snatchers, man, I don't know. That's so incoherent, the trailer. I would definitely put Atropia on the bottom, though. Tim Heidecker's a huge red flag for me. That's just me. But your mileage may vary. Number 2 would probably be Snatchers, simply because the trailer's so incoherent. I kind of don't know. It doesn't sound bad, but a trailer that incoherent, I have to wonder if the movie's going to be that incoherent. But it doesn't have Tim Heidecker. And then number 1 would be Bull Run. It looks solid enough. Yeah, I think it could be good. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Head Office. He even looks like the lead from Head Office, if you ever saw that movie way back in the day. Probably doesn't go that far, but I don't know. Maybe. At least they're making comedies again. And that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on the green site, the orange site, and the black site for more videos. We do 4 every day, unless I get too tired. There, what are we doing? Thursday, tomorrow. Oh, that's right, that is tomorrow. I will be at the Crosswicks Library at 6 p.m. for my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devils. So come on by, hope to see you there. We'll see you in the next one.